So moving on here, one thing that's dawned on me for all these cloud strategy summits, I think this is our 6th one. We've never really talked about our capabilities in communications. And I feel like that's a big gap in the presentations we've put together, because part of our legacy is deeply in communications. And we have continued to grow our capabilities with communications, enterprise communications, UCaaS, contact center, and so on in the cloud. And we've brought Matt Campbell on as our key subject matter expert. Really, he's both the product manager and solution engineer on the communication side of our business. He leads our communications center of excellence. Our organization is broken. We have several centers of excellence, which is cross-departmental focus areas. Communications is one of them. Cloud is one, obviously. Resiliency is another. And Matt's the lead there, and he brings just years, decades of experience here in this space in both government and security level and also enterprise level communications. And I'm really excited to have him on board. Matt, thank you so much for joining, and really looking forward to your conversation.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. All right, so talk a little bit about cloud communications. Not completely new concept, but in the grand scheme of things, definitely new. Telephone systems traditionally have been on-premise in folks' data centers. The phones on people's desks have traditionally been wired to a PBX system that sits, in the corporate infrastructure. And the advent of broadband internet connections available all over the world in people's homes has really changed things. And Chris, if you could advance the next slide, please. And COVID has changed things dramatically. So, I mean, just a couple of years ago, we probably all went to an office. We probably all sat at a cubicle or a desk or something of that nature, had a phone probably provided by the company on the desk, and we probably went into a meeting room and had meetings in person. Obviously, COVID hit, we all kind of went into this work from home world that a few were in, but not many. And now it's kind of represents the norm. So in order to be able to communicate, have those meetings, have those conversations with our coworkers naturally from all over the world, we're now heavily reliant on our unified collaboration solutions to be able to provide the telephone, the video meetings that we're doing right now, chat, document sharing, all that type of stuff, right? So we had to rapidly adopt when COVID hit, and there's been a big change as far as how companies are going about providing these services and having employees interact with each other from wherever they might be. And also in contact centers or call centers. Call centers were traditionally a bunch of people sitting in a room, answering calls as they came in, solving people's problems, customer service, help desk, sales, you name it. And now all of a sudden, these contact centers are closed, and the agents, how do they get into this system from their home? Enter cloud, and it all is possible. Chris, next slide, please. So we've heard a lot from our customers, and I've done a bunch of research as far as what the market's looking for. And when it comes to legacy on-premise systems, we've heard a lot of customers say, well, it's difficult for us to manage and to administer licenses and resources to patch it and maintain it is cumbersome, it's expensive. When businesses expand to new locations, it can be slow and expensive to incorporate them into the system. And we've heard customers saying, we'd like to have our system integrated better into our CRM, for instance, like Salesforce.com or something of that nature, other back-end databases. And a lot of, not so much with unified collaboration, but more contact centers, there's a lot of data that can be used to help the business develop better insight into how they're doing business, how their customers are interacting with them, such things of that nature. Traditional systems, maybe could collect the data, but then what do you do with it? You take a lot of time and resources to analyze it. And we've also heard customers saying, when there's an internet outage, power outage, our system's down. So with an on-premise system, legacy system, unless you had redundant circuits, redundant power, redundant locations, which some do, but not all, that might have been an issue. So cloud helps solve all these issues. Next slide, please. Market trends clearly trending in the direction of cloud-based communications. 82% of the businesses have moved to or plan to move to the cloud by 2024, which is quickly approaching 74% of all unified communications licenses will be cloud-based. This is all data collected by Gartner and Forrester Research and others of that nature. So clearly just showing that, again, rapid shift happening here in the way we go about purchasing these things. All right. So on the left, we have your benefits to businesses. On the right, we have benefits to customers. And that kind of breaks down into businesses being the unified collaboration suite of products and the customers being kind of more so the contact center suite of products. So for businesses, the remote mobility, remote connectivity, work from home is a huge benefit from the employee experience perspective, right? Like I mentioned before. Simplicity, ease of use, it's easier to administer and maintain for companies. A lot of times that's outsourced. The back end operational stuff is outsourced to the cloud provider, or perhaps in the support realm to a company such as InterVision, because that's something that we will do for our customers as well. Financial flexibility, so reduced cost of ownership, reduced operating expenses. It's a monthly bill, it's a utility bill versus a large upfront capital expense like it would traditionally be consumed by on-premise system. Legacy systems traditionally involve complex pricing and upfront costs. Smaller organizations might have difficulty swallowing that pill. And now in a cloud-based model, that all becomes much easier, much more attainable. Scale and agility, so that's a big one. You can scale, you can grow up or down quickly and easily without having to add hardware, new circuits, VPN connections to people's houses, things of that nature. And it's always being updated, it's always being patched, it's always being introduced with new features by the cloud provider because that's the nature of how cloud works, right? So those are all advantages of the business. Now on the customer side, the contact centers that are cloud-based, again, like I said before, agents can now be anywhere in the world and work for that contact center. So contact centers have the ability to hire from a more diverse pool of resources. Doesn't necessarily have to be local to where that business is based. The AI, the artificial intelligence and machine learning capabilities of contact center, a cloud-based contact center is huge as far as providing better customer experience. We'll get into that in a minute. Communicate on their preferred platform. So that kind of refers to the fact that what we call omni-channel communication. So in a contact center, a call center is basically just that. People call in on their phone, right? Contact center is that plus a bunch of other ways to reach into that business, whether it be email, SMS, live web chat, social media platforms, all integrated or funneled into the contact center where an agent might be responding to a customer via phone call one moment and via an email or a text message or chatting with them live the next. So flexibility, and the customer gets to choose how they want to reach out to a company and communicate with them, which is nice. Respond faster. So again, you can have agents all around the world in that contact center, so different time zones, things of that nature, other benefit. And better insights is all about analytics and all the data that you can consume from a customer interaction and how you can use that to improve your business process. Next slide, Chris, please. Next slide, please. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what InterVision provides in the cloud communications space. These are our main partnerships. Cisco has been around since we got into this space back in probably 2008 or so. So we've been leveraging Cisco's call center and unified collaboration solutions for years and years and years. And we host that primarily in our own data centers. So it's kind of a private cloud scenario. And then our newest partnerships in the past year are with AWS with their Amazon Connect contact center solution, with 8x8, who provides both unified collaboration and contact center services. And then the AT&T Partner Exchange is something we've had around for a while as well, and that's really comes down to data circuits and telephone lines, SIP trunking, things of that nature. All right, Chris, if you could go to the next slide, please. A little bit more detail on those that I just mentioned here. So here's the different buckets, I'll call it, of services. So unified collaboration on the left, we have managed 8x8. When I say manage, it means 8x8 provides the core services in their cloud infrastructure, and InterVision manages that, supports that, implements that to our customers, right? So it's not the 8x8 of yesteryear where you go direct to 8x8. This is us reselling it, adding our value, our managed services on top of it. Again, we have our Cisco solution. Also noteworthy that Cisco's cloud calling solution, WebEx calling, is something new to us as well. We're still in the process of rolling that out, but it is available and something worthy of talking about as well. Contact center, Amazon Connect, that's a big one. We'll talk about that in a moment. Managed 8x8 contact center and Cisco WebEx contact center. And then again, the managed carrier services is via our AT&T Partner Exchange partnership, and that includes SIP trunking, which would be telephone lines, and various types of WAN and LAN circuits, wireless, broadband, fiber, Metro, Ethernet, MPLS, things of that nature. Next slide, please. All right, so what does InterVision provide on top of these cloud services? So we provide fully managed solutions. Basically, we take the cloud provider's core service and we augment that with our value add. And the primary one here would be our managed support services. So we have a 24/7 help desk. We have the ability to monitor and alert when something might happen with that platform, and proactively let our customers know, hey, you know, we see an issue here, and we're on top of it. We're handling it for you, or you know, maybe there's something that you need to do. So there's that. User administration, MACDs, moves, adds, and changes. A lot of companies, you know, don't want to deal with that kind of stuff anymore. They don't want to deal with changing a password or deleting or adding a new user. So we can do that for you. Change management and vendor escalation being a big one. So a lot of companies do not want to have to deal with the end vendor. Maybe in a lot of situations they cannot. Then they have to be a partner to deal with them. So we'll do that portion as well. Aside from the managed support, we will do your monthly billing. So if you consume multiple services from InterVision, you have the benefit of getting one bill from one provider each month, as opposed to multiple bills from multiple providers. You've got one place to go for customer service and account management. And then we have a whole plethora of professional services, skilled, certified, trained cloud communications specialists that can help with system design, development, migration, implementation, changing the environment, adding on to it, you name it. And also we do, with some of our services, offer the flexibility of you can self-service it yourself, or you can have us fully manage it, or maybe a combination of the two. With 8x8 and with Amazon Connect, their administration panel is available for our customers to log into and poke around and make changes if they desire, or just have us do it. If you don't mind switching to the next slide, Chris. All right, so let's talk a bit about Amazon Connect. Next slide, please. All right, so what is Amazon Connect? Amazon Connect is AWS's contact center solution. It's something that Amazon built from the ground up internally for their own internal use for their retail website, Amazon.com's customer service department. They built it many years ago because they couldn't find a solution that worked for their needs. They were obviously very big and had a lot of requirements, but they built it, and then they decided, you know what, we're gonna sell this to our customers. So they commercialized it a few years ago. Now it's available to customers worldwide. And so what makes it different? Well, obviously it's cloud-based, so there's all the flexibility that I mentioned before. But one of the biggest things that Amazon offers is their artificial intelligence and machine learning capabilities. So if you think about Amazon Alexa, right? Amazon Alexa or your Google Assistant or your Siri, obviously Amazon's got a pretty good handle on that technology. And so they've integrated that technology into the contact center in the form of virtual agents and chatbots that are able to communicate with, interact with customers, recognize their voice, and both respond back in text and voice formats without necessarily needing to involve a live human being. So you might be thinking, well, I don't really want to talk to a robot. I want to talk to a person. Well, that option is there too, of course. But in a lot of instances, customers might only need to check a balance on an account or pay a bill or get some information that might be easily done without a human being involved. And the natural language recognition capabilities of Amazon Connect are above and beyond that of what traditional contact centers have been able to do in the past. So that's a big benefit. It also saves contact center operators money by not needing to staff a contact center with as many agents, right? So maybe they don't need to hire or staff as many people at once as they used to because the AI technology can offset a bunch of the requests that might be coming in. The voice recognition also has the ability to provide sentiment analysis of a call. This is kind of cool. So if a customer is calling in and talking to an agent and they're getting a bit heated, they're getting a bit angry, the system can be analyzing that in real time in the back end and say, hey, Mr. Contact Center Manager, we've got an angry customer here, and the agent might not be maybe isn't handling it that well, so they can get in there and try to solve the problem before it gets too out of control. But it also is able to recommend in real time to the agent maybe some suggested answers to their problems based on what they're asking for, or maybe provide links to knowledge articles or things like that. So it helps the agent respond to the customer by having the computer system listening in on what the customer's saying and saying, hey, we think this could help, that could help. So interesting little aspect there as well. Another huge aspect is the scalability, right? So, and just to back up for a second, I mean, small businesses and large businesses have the ability to kind of consume that technology, whereas in the past, you'd have to be a pretty big organization to be able to afford that kind of technology. Right now, this is available to smaller businesses as well. On the scalability side of things, small businesses, big businesses alike, all can use this. If a business is growing, if a business has needs that kind of ebb and flow with the season. For instance, it's holiday shopping season right now, right? So a lot of companies need to hire a whole lot more staff and ramp up their contact center for a month or two, and then come January, they scale it down. And if there's licenses involved with a traditional system, that could mean you have to buy more licenses than you generally need in a given period of time for a year or several years. Here, it's a usage-based pricing system, so you use it more this month and less the next month. Your bill is based on your usage, so that's unique. Most systems out there are based on the seat or the number of agents that are working in a contact center. And then there's the real-time analytics. Again, as I kind of just mentioned before, there's a ton of data that's generated by a contact center, and having what to do with that data, how to use it to your advantage as a business is something that this system helps with because of, again, the AI and the ML capabilities. Reliability, so it's based on AWS's global infrastructure, it's redundant, it's all over the world. There's no patching, downtime for patching and updates, again, just like most cloud services. Again, as I mentioned before, anywhere and everywhere, so you can have agents around the world, different time zones, different states, at home, in the office, all working seamlessly together as if they were all in the same room. Again, usage-based pricing. And I should mention that the monthly pricing for Amazon Connect includes your telco or PSTN charges. That's your phone bill, right? So a traditional system, you'd have your system, you'd have your network that it rides on, and you'd also have your phone bill from your AT&T, your Verizon, CenturyLink, whoever. So this includes that, right? So this is all kind of bundled together, I guess, making it simpler. Next slide, please.
Sorry about that, Matt.
All good. All right, so these are stats published by Amazon, just to kind of emphasize, reduce call volume, as I talked about before. You can offload a lot of the actual live call volume to the automated chatbots, virtual agents, things of that nature, self-service capabilities, shortened handle time, reduced training, so it's a simpler system to use. So training your staff, a new staff member that might be on coming into a contact center, reduce the amount of time that it takes for them to get up to speed and start working, start generating money for the company. Reduce system administration effort, right? Again, Amazon's handling all that back-end infrastructure for you. InterVision is handling the support for you, so there's much less to do in-house. And again, the license and the usage cost is reduced due to the consumption-based pricing model. All right, if you can move on to the next slide, Chris. So AWS is providing you with basically the infrastructure and the building blocks, but who puts it together? Well, that's where we come in, right? So we have the expertise, we have the cloud communications certified folks that can come in and take those building blocks that Amazon provides, put them together into a custom solution that's right for your business. So that might involve just the simple contact center, but it also might involve tying it into your CRM, into various backend databases that you have, into whatever. We have the in-house capabilities of doing that. Lots of experience doing that as well. We have, again, 24/7 operations center. We're in the United States. We're also in India, so around the clock, we're there to support you. Not to say that Amazon doesn't have 24/7 support either, but Amazon support, if you opt to use that, is basically providing platform support or break fix support, but they're not going to do your user password resets and add users, remove users, make tweaks and changes to the code of the system, but we can and we will. And then, of course, AWS is providing that infrastructure as they do so well. All right, Chris, if you could move on to the next one, please. All right, so I've kind of touched on these things already. It's a little bit redundant, but again, we have the ability to provide migration services. We have a ton of experience migrating customers from one system to another. So take your Cisco system, your Avaya system, whatever it is you might have now, move it to Amazon Connect. We've got the in-house expertise to evaluate your old system, understand how it works, take that, translate it over to the new system, and do so in a systematic way so that there's not any downtime and everything is seamless as far as the customer's viewpoint goes. Next slide, Chris. All right, now let's talk about 8x8. So 8x8 for the last 10 years in a row has been a Magic Quadrant leader for UCaaS, which is Unified Communications as a Service. And for the last 7 years in a row, they've been a challenger in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for CCaaS, which is Contact Center as a Service. So next slide, Chris. One of the big advantages to 8x8 is that it provides both UCaaS or unified collaboration and contact center in one platform, right? So Amazon Connect is just contact center. There's no business phone system, no PBX involved with that. While they do offer online meetings and chat and via their Chime application, it's not the same platform. It's a different one, so it's different apps. So 8x8 really shines in the unified collaboration space and the fact that you can have your contact center and your unified collaboration all together in one spot. They are very big. They've been around for a long time, 20 or so years, and they've got a footprint all over the world in, I think it's 16 different, oh yeah, it says it right there, 16 different data centers around the world. They've got some patents around their voice encoding technology for quality. You can get phone numbers in a whole bunch of different countries if you've got international presence, which is great as well. So again, what does this include? So you've got your meetings, just like we're doing now, you're similar to WebEx. You've got your chat, you got your telephone system, you've got fax, you've got SMS for business, all in the unified collaboration side. And then you've got your contact center piece, if you have an operator call center, all together. All right, Chris, if you don't mind, go next slide, please. Again, kind of just showing that you've got both the contact center, which would be the customer experience side of things, and the phone system or unified collaboration side, which would be employee experience side of things, all kind of integrated together. And on the topic of analytics and AI and integrations, as I was going into with Amazon Connect, they have the same capabilities, not to the extent maybe that Amazon does, but they definitely do have those capabilities as well. And they definitely have a ton of integrations with different third-party CRM applications and help desk applications and various things of that nature as well. Next slide, Chris. All right, so one of the big value adds to us for 8x8 is their integration and their partnership with Microsoft. So we see a ton of our customers asking about wanting to use MS Teams as their collaboration platform. A bunch of people are using it. By default, MS Teams does not include voice capabilities for calling outbound outside the company. You might be able to call another employee within the organization, but to call a phone number or to have someone call you on your phone number, that's not something that's natively included. Now, Microsoft does include that or does offer that. But the feature set that Microsoft provides is not nearly as robust as what 8x8 provides on the voice side of things, and it's a little bit more expensive as well. So 8x8, when you integrate it into the Microsoft Teams environment, you don't necessarily need to use the 8x8 app. You can if you'd like to. You could just use the Microsoft Teams native app and use the calling feature within either the desktop or mobile app. And you don't really even know that 8x8 necessarily is involved. It just integrates seamlessly into the MS Teams app, provides you with your calling, your voicemail, SMS texting, faxing, all within Teams. Again, those features are not natively included without buying extra packages through Microsoft, which can be a little bit confusing, cumbersome, and more expensive and less feature-rich than what 8x8 can provide. So if you're an MS Teams user out there and you're looking for adding voice capabilities, PBX capabilities into it, or even contact center capabilities into it, then 8x8 might be a good choice for you. The contact center component of it integrating with MS Teams is fairly unique to them. Not a whole lot of other folks out there doing that. Next slide, Chris. Okay, so as I mentioned before, with one of the first slides, InterVision's managed support, managed services provides a bunch of different value. So here, we're doing in the sales process, we're able to do solution demos and proof of concepts for our customers. Try before you buy type of situation. We're designing it, we're implementing it through our professional services. We're providing you with your monthly bill, which includes, again, your phone bill. So your phone bill and your system are all combined together in one license fee. Customer service, account management, support, vendor escalation, all of our support, professional services, and solutions architects are certified by 8x8 to sell it. So we've got a 20-something folks certified by 8x8 at this point. Next slide, Chris. All right, and right now we happen to be running a no-cost proof of concept offer for Amazon Connect. We can also do something similar, but to a lesser scale for 8x8, I should note. But if you're interested in trying, these solutions out, seeing how they work, testing it, kicking the tires, so to speak, let us know. Because this promotion is not forever, but we basically are providing you with the professional services free of charge up to a certain, I think it's 40 or 50 hours or something like that, if I recall correctly. So please take advantage of this. Let us know if you want to try one of these solutions out. Let us show you what the advantages are, the benefits. Definitely think that trying it will show you just how great it can be compared to whatever solution you might be using now that would be on-premise or legacy-based. And with that, I'm going to hand it back over to Chris. Appreciate the time. Thanks, everyone. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Matt. And again, I'm so glad to finally get some of our communication capabilities out here at Cloud Strategy Summit. And I wanted to highlight this POC as just an example, right? We talked a lot about, often it's like, what's the first step need to look like? And this is just one example of the many POCs that we have out there. We have workshops, we have consulting engagements, several ways to get things rolling that, again, don't have to be massive undertakings, right? Let us kind of demonstrate our capabilities. Let us prove out the total cost of ownership and how you might be able to save money or improve your experience. Another big thing, that was a big takeaway from Matt's conversation just now is that, really we're hearing more and more that customer experience and employee experience is a key differentiator. And one of the ways that, as technology leaders, that we can influence that is really communication platforms, right? How easy is it for your customers to get a hold of you? How easy is it for them to engage with you? How easy is it for your employees to collaborate? I know that's just a small piece, but it's another example of, how the cloud is empowering organizations really to drive those business outcomes.